Hello, YouTube family, and we hope you had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Lynn and I just want to thank you for being a part of this journey with our family. This last year has been an amazing year in the sense for our YouTube channel. Now, do we have 1 million subscribers? No. Do we have 10,000 subscribers? No. Do we have 1,000? Absolutely not. But we doubled our subscriber base over this last year, and the fact that over 200 people are anywhere interested about what we're doing and how we do things just amazes us. So again, thank you for being a part of this online community, our online family. We appreciate all of you so very much. Thank you for the way that you leave comments below, you encourage us, you ask questions, and you interact with us. Again, we'll do our best to try to always answer those questions and interact with you as soon as time allows us. Also, we've been kind of absent from posting for the last couple of weeks, and it's not been because of the holidays. It has been because of COVID and sicknesses. If you remember, am a senior pastor on a staff here at a church in Southwest Ohio, and my entire staff came down with COVID coming into Christmas Eve and Christmas. And so I was kind of the last man standing. I've done it before. I've been the only pastor in a church before. It's not a big deal. But it was a lot of work, and I had to carry a lot of buckets and wear a lot of hats. And so because of that, this channel had to come second. So again, we haven't been able to post for the last couple of weeks, and we thank you for your patience in all of that. Lynn and I did get sick. We did not get COVID. I had an upper respiratory infection. Lynn got the flu. We made it through it in spite of all of that. So now what are we going to do? We're going to go back to the shed, and we're going to go ahead and take those trusses that I ended up getting built and put. They're not nailed in yet. We're going to nail those in. We're going to go ahead and cut the boards for the deck, get the deck put up there. We'll talk about what kind of board I got. Basically, it was cheap, inexpensive, lumber's going back up. And we're going to go ahead and build the wall to get in there. And I'm going to show you a countertop I got for free. Now, is it the most beautiful thing in the world? No, but it doesn't matter. It was free, and it came from a really sweet friend at church who watches the channel and is a gardener themselves. And so again, we appreciate free, especially when free is going to work for us. So let's go ahead and go back and let's get working in the shed. All right, here's what I'm thinking. I was going to end up putting my wall right here attached to the stud. I was going to screw the end of the wall into the stud, give it something to grab a hold of, and it'll give me plenty of space for my seed start room, and then what I think or thought would be enough space for all of my tools. Again, you just need enough to get in there and get between the two walls and get the tools out. However, I'm thinking with my wall attached to this spot, I'm going to be just a little tight over here on this side. And I know I'm a big guy, maybe it's just me, but Lynn also thinks it's going to be just a little tight over on this side of this room. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up putting a couple of boards running between these two studs here, and end up attaching my wall to that, giving myself about, I don't know, another 6 to 8 inches of room on this other wall over here. I'm not really going to be taking that much away from the other side, and so I think that should be good enough. So let's go ahead and get the air nailer out, and I'll get these all nailed to the joists, or no, to the studs. Got to use the right language. Anyway, I need to nail these to the boards that go up and down. Get these nailed in, and then I'm going to show you a new tool that I got for Christmas from my wife. A nice Kreg jig to cut some my 4x8 sheets. We'll get get those panels put up there, and then we'll end up getting the wall built, and we'll get the wall stood up. All right, so we've got the loft supports all nailed in. It's a little more difficult than I thought. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go out and cut my sheets to end up fitting for the decking here in the loft. They're gonna be 6 foot long, they're 4x8 sheets, so they're 4 foot wide, 8 foot total, and the ends, the 2 foot by 4 foot ends that I'm gonna have left are gonna come up and they're gonna fit over on that side. I'm gonna put the awkward side over here. Now, let me show you a new jig that I got for Christmas from my wife. This is a Kreg ripsaw jig. This runs along the outside edge of the board that you're cutting. And as you'll see here in just a moment, your saw fits on here and it's clamped down here. It has a 2 foot adjustment. You can only rip out to 2 feet. So if you're needing to rip all the way down the length, well, no, this should do a 4x8 sheet because it'll go out to 2 feet. So you could run the factory edge, which is nice and straight. And then you've got your 2 foot all the way out the end, and you can rip a board all the way in half. You can rip ends up to 2 feet. If you need more than that, then you would need their guide that they have that could do maybe like a 3 foot rip or 4 foot rip. But let me go ahead and get the saw on here. And I'm not going to explain this too much. I just think this is a really neat tool. There's times when I don't want to drag out the big table saw to cut a 4x8 sheet, and it's a little unwieldy to do that by yourself. This makes a nice tool to make those cuts. So let me go ahead and get my sawhorses set up. Let me get my saw on this, and let me go ahead and get my 4x8 sheet out here on my sawhorses, and we'll get this thing cut. I've gone ahead and I've marked out my 2 foot mark all the way across to make sure that this is following my my gauge, my jig here. I've got this already. I went ahead and already lined it up by putting this on the outside edge and making sure that I'm hitting the 24-inch mark. I have a left hand saw blade. The blade's not to the right. They have a place for either a left or a right hand, and this would be over here and this would be on the outside. This probably would work a little better either being used left-handed or with a right hand cut, but I've got a left hand cut, and so I'm out towards the very edge of what you should be doing. Now, this is actually going to make a nice straight cut because I have a factory edge. One of the things you want to pay attention to is if you're going to be using this far end as a guide, you need to make sure you've got a nice straight square line, or your board itself is not going to be square. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and maybe put this on time lapse, and we'll go ahead and run this cut all the way across, or maybe I'll just leave it like this and we'll see what we do together. Sound good? All right. Might help if I put, I'm not cutting this, but I'm going to end up with a pinch because this is on this side of my blade. So I'm going to go ahead and move my sawhorse inside. I'm glad I checked, or I'd be in a world of hurt. All right, we're back. I got myself set up a little bit better. I know it doesn't look like I'm going to miss the sawhorse over here, but I am. And I got something to help support this since I'm out here by myself. Probably not going to work perfect, but it was better than what I was doing. Let's go ahead and finish this cut. that edge up there just a little bit. There we go. Hey, I'm happy with that. That did exactly 2 feet all the way across. Let's go ahead and get these sheets up on the deck, and I think I'm going to use my coil nailer to secure these down. Well, a couple of things. Number one, we know the loft can hold me, can it? So if it can hold me, it can hold a lot of weight. Number two, I switched from nails to screws because the bow in the boards, you want to put the bow going up, and the nails weren't driving it down and holding it, even though they're ring shanked and for siding. Excuse me. Leftover coughing from my upper respiratory infection. And so I went ahead and switched the screws, and then I've been working at getting them all screwed down. I'm going to go ahead and cut the last 2 end pieces to go over here and get those installed, and then hopefully before this day is over, possibly get the wall assembled and stood up. I've gotten the decking now all complete, although I have to screw that small section in there. You already saw me up there once. I might leave that for another time. That's not comfortable. So I've got this completely done now. And so what we're going to do is go ahead and take all my pre-cut and assemble my wall and get it lifted. Again, I do think I'm still going to run horizontals between those 2 studs and split that stud in half as far as where the where everything's going to land. I don't know. If I'm going to be using dimensional lumber to put walls up and things like that, I might want to keep it on the stud. I'm going to go ahead and end it there for this episode. You saw me put the wall together, get it raised up, level it, nail it into the loft, and nail it into the ground, nail it into those sidewalls. I've given myself approximately 5 feet from front wall to the back wall here. It's going to open up this that side. It's going to open up the tool side a little bit more, give me a little bit more room to store things. Let me go ahead and flip this around and just give you a peek at what things look like. I've got to step all the way outside to kind of let you see what things are looking like. I've got my loft up. I've got, for the most part, those boards I have to screw down yet, but I really wanted to get this wall up. I think I'm giving myself quite a bit of room in the front here, as well as that extra room in the back for all the tools. And I'm excited, friends. This is going to look very, very good. We're going to have a good workspace for the garden, for storage, and for seed starts. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not yet a subscriber, hit the subscribe button And maybe do us a favor by sharing this on social media, or at least talking to your friends about it who are into homesteading or DIY or things like that. Maybe this is going to be an encouragement for them and they can learn along with us. Again, thanks for being here today. You have a blessed new year. Bye-bye.